late December last year, Janusz Walus, the convicted killer of Chris Hani, he ended a correctional supervision period after being released on parole. He then jetted home to Poland as a free man. He now lives in Warsaw in Poland. But for the first few weeks of his freedom, he's kept relatively quiet, but over the last while has been doing a number of interviews with Polish media outlets. In fact, ENCA will be broadcasting an interview with him. I think it's on Sunday night. But joining me now is Rafal Pankowski. He's a political scientist, also head of Poland's Never Again Association that monitors levels of racism within Poland and Eastern Europe. Joins me now on the line. Good morning, Rafal. Really appreciate your time. Who has Janusz Walus been speaking to, and what has he been saying?
Good morning. What is happening is, I would say, precisely what we've been expecting and what we had been worried about for some time. He is having a hero's welcome among the worst racist, far-right nationalist groups in Poland. He gave 3 major interviews over the last week or so, including what is probably the biggest online channel on YouTube in Poland. And what he says shows definitely a lack of remorse, a lack of self-reflection, frequently a glorification of the system of apartheid and the ideology behind it, and frequently a kind of self-glorification of the violence, of the murder he committed.
Here's one of the sound bites from one of the interviews that he did, which we have translated from Polish. He was asked by the interviewer whether he has remorse for his actions, and here's what he said.
It's simple. I spoke to the victim's daughter, and there's regret that I killed her father, and regret that I made her an orphan, and made her 2 sisters orphans, and her mother a widow. I regret that I killed a man, but don't regret that I killed a terrorist that was the cause and would cause the death of many people in the future. It's complicated. I'm not even sure.
Rafal, you say that the interviews so far have largely been softball interviews, people who are, if not sympathetic, but at least provide a listening ear, hearing ear to him. Has there been any critical questions, tough questions being asked to Janusz Walus?
Well, one of the 3 interviewers did ask him some critical questions, but clearly in his responses, Walus failed to even understand why many people consider him a criminal rather than a hero. He is obviously enjoying his moment of fame and the support he gets from far-right racist groups, and this is not really very surprising to us if we consider the very day of his return to Poland, because he was not traveling alone. All the way from Johannesburg, he was traveling in the company of one Grzegorz Braun, who is a well-known and violent far-right extremist, also a member of the European Parliament, who is well-known and notorious in Poland and outside of Poland for violent hate speech, as well as physical attacks against the Jewish community, the Ukrainian refugees in Poland, the LGBT community, and other minorities. So from day one, so to say, Walus has literally been in the company of far-right extremists, and willingly, even at the price of alienating his own family in Poland, who is apparently terrified at what he has allowed himself to become a symbol of.
I'll get to your conversation with Eva Walus, Janusz Walus's daughter. But remember, it was the South African Constitutional Court that ordered Janusz Walus be allowed and be eligible for parole. In one of the interviews, he also said that he would call Chris Hani's daughter on Christmas Day. He described it as some form of therapy. He claims less for him, but more for Lindiwe Hani. But he was also pushed in one of the interviews about whether he did this simply to advance his eligibility of parole. He was asked by an interviewer if this, or what he did, was simply a cynical attempt at parole, and this is what he said.
I don't remember if it was the daughter who applied for meeting or if it was me, because I was told that that was the way I would get out of prison. Would you have done it differently? Probably not. If I didn't meet with her, I would have died in prison.
What does that tell you, Rafal?
Well, apparently he's admitting that some of the gestures that he made when he was still in jail in South Africa were cynical gestures more than anything else, which certainly doesn't show him in a very positive light. It shows that the 30 years that he served in prison did rather little to reform him, unfortunately.
As you said, he has become a symbol for the right. He has become some sort of totem when it comes to far-right gatherings and marches in Poland. But it's not a view shared overall by Polish citizens. You spoke to his daughter, Eva, and she said she's worried about the symbolism, if not even plan for him to enter into politics in Poland.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, he has become a symbol of a certain group within Polish society. You know, the far right nationalist fringe, which is active, for example, in certain football stadiums in Poland, and his return to Poland has been celebrated in some stadiums in this last period, but definitely the majority of the Polish people do not share the ideology of racist violence that Walus subscribes to, and that includes his family in Poland. That in the case of his daughter Eva, has clearly stated. Yeah. I had a lengthy conversation with her about it yesterday. Yeah. She contacted Never Again for assistance and support, and she said very clearly that she was horrified by the campaign of glorification around her father.
So then, Rafal, could this decision taken several years ago by the Constitutional Court here in South Africa, saying that Janusz Walus met the requirements for parole, ordering that he should be released on parole, he did a correctional services period, allowed and released and allowed to go back home, could this decision by the Constitutional Court in South Africa have an impact not only on Polish politics, I would argue Eastern European politics, and therefore a larger part of Europe?
Well, unfortunately, we know the global context is a big challenge here too. Yes, there are far right and racist groups that are emboldened globally, and I think the moment of Janusz Walus's return to Poland, to Europe, is one part of the global movement of the emboldened far right, and the glorification of the racist violence is very much part of that too.
Rafal Pankowski, really appreciate your time, political scientist and head of the Never Again Foundation in Poland.